Hello and welcome to the news on NTAi International, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Habiba Oladipo. We begin with a look at the headlines.
If we want to prosper as a nation, we must cherish the family and accord it the value, the respect, and indeed the sanctity it deserves.
Federal government not unmindful of the havoc poverty is wreaking on the nation's family units, determined to sustain efforts at addressing the phenomenon. Information and Culture Minister clears the air on proposed $500 million loan sought from China. Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development Ministry to partner Operation Safe Corridor. Many thanks for being there. The federal government says it is not unmindful of the havoc poverty is wreaking on the nation's family units, and it is determined to sustain efforts at addressing the phenomenon through economic support and empowerment towards safeguarding the integrity of families. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at the opening of a joint national conference on repositioning the Muslim family for national development organized by the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and the Future Assured Initiative. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the details.
If we want to prosper as a nation, we must cherish the family and accord it the value, the respect, and indeed the sanctity it deserves.
President Muhammadu Buhari said most importantly, and as a matter of urgency, family values must be propagated and indeed defended, as only stable families can contribute meaningfully towards nation building. The president therefore commended the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and the Future Assured Initiative for rising up to this challenge.
I understand that the essential objective of the joint effort is to find ways to reduce marital discord and rampant divorce, which has bedeviled our society. It is a project that has direct bearing on our well-being and development of our society. I wish to call on all our other religious leaders and organizations, both Christian and Muslim, to follow suit by redirecting important elements of their preachings and teachings on family issues with a view to broadening the sensitization of people at the grassroots level.
He, however, said if the search for national rebirth, efforts at fighting corruption and indiscipline, as well as a struggle for attitudinal change are to succeed, they must all begin from the family unit. And this, he said, informed the introduction of the various economic empowerment and poverty alleviation schemes directly impacting on families.
The first and most robust program is the Social Investment Program, which serves as a very broad framework for availing Nigerian families at the grassroots level different forms of economic support. We have recorded huge successes in terms of saving millions of families from distress. Conversely, it has weeded millions of children from the street back to school. We will continue to do more in this direction. It is our expectation that the state governments will rise up to these challenges and do their full parts.
Senate President Ahmed Lawan, who spoke in the same vein, promised the support of the National Assembly in the task of addressing the challenges confronting Nigeria, especially the Al-Majiri phenomenon.
On the matter of making Nigeria better, we have no reservations, we have no hesitations in supporting Mr. President to achieve all the laudable and noble goals he has set for himself and for this country.
On behalf of the Northern governors, I want to assure you, Your Excellency, that we are collaborating with you. We have already taken a decision that we are going to take 2 days in Kaduna to just deliberate on this issue. It is about implementation Let us now see which governor will not implement.
Practical recommendations are expected at the end of the conference, which the president promised will be carefully studied for possible implementation. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTAi News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari is reassuring the people of Plateau State that the federal government will continue to support genuine efforts at building a peaceful, prosperous and tolerant society for them to fully harness its potential for a better future. This was while granting audience to critical stakeholders from the states, led by Governor Simon Lalong. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has that report.
With its geographically unique and diverse environment, as well as incredible potentials in tourism, agriculture and mining, President Muhammadu Buhari described Plateau State as strategic to Nigeria.
It is therefore our collective duty to ensure these potentials are fully harnessed by providing the right policy support. I am very pleased with the progress made in security, provision of social services, and infrastructure development under your leadership. These are the critical pillars of having a prosperous and inclusive society. I will therefore take this opportunity to urge all citizens of Plateau to encourage and support your government in delivering on its mandate.
The president congratulated Governor Simon Lalong for his steadfastness, patriotism and successes achieved so far in genuinely transforming the state through his rescue administration.
And rest assured, we will do our best to support you where we can.
The state governor, Simon Lalong, who expressed gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for supporting the state in many ways, takes pride in the modest achievements recorded in the restoration of peace and security, improving critical infrastructure and ensuring fiscal discipline.
Currently, our focus is to implement legacy projects that will transform the state and take our people to the next level. Accordingly, we are constructing excellent schools, hospitals and roads across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Some of them are almost completed, and we shall be honored to have Your Excellency personally come to commission them for the benefit of our people and posterity.
He, however, made a case for dualization and construction of at least 5 critical federal roads in the state, including Akwanga, Jos, Bauchi, Gombe Road, upgrading the Potato Research Center, as well as the provision of special grants for the rehabilitation of victims of attacks and crises.
Many victims of crisis in Plateau State are facing serious challenges of survival. Since Plateau State is not captured in the Northeast Development Commission, we passionately appeal for a special grant to enable us to respond to their needs.
Plateau State Council of Chiefs and Emirs are very much in support of Mr. Governor's request to Mr. President. And by God's grace, we want to believe Mr. President will wipe away our tears.
The Plateau community also made a case for refund of outstanding monies expended on some federal projects and promised to work more closely with the Buhari presidency for the good of the nation. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTAi News.
Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has advised Nigerians at their individual and collective levels to galvanize support for President Muhammadu Buhari in the fight against insecurity in the country. The minister stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Anthony Forsen reports.
Giving a breakdown of what the loan will be used for, the minister explained that 3 critical projects have been targeted. One is to construct a headquarters complex for transmission network for Integrated Television Services, ITS, the federal government's own signal distributor, which is a major component for the nation's digital switchover project.
It's also meant to build an ultra-modern media city that will have the following facilities: indoor-outdoor shooting area, animation production facility, digital media training center, world-class cinema, a 4-star hotel, an amusement park, and an amphitheater.
The minister added that the loan will cover the digitization of all NTAi stations, NTAi headquarters, 12 zonal stations, 36 state capital stations, and 76 community stations, just as it will also support the upgrade, installation, and purchasing of relevant digital television broadcast equipment. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTAi News.
One of the principles on which the Nigerian nation is founded is social justice. This principle is recognized by the 1999 Constitution as amended. In this special report, Dele Atumbi takes a look at this principle against the backdrop of the World Day of Social Justice.
Social justice is a constitutional concept based on the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges in the society. Due to the importance the Nigerian nation places on social justice, Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended is allotted to all issues bordering on social justice. Section 14 subsection 1 of the Constitution affirms that the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be a state based on the principles of democracy and social justice. The whole of Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which has to do with the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, places premium on social, economic, educational, environmental, political, and cultural rights of the people. The Constitution abhors any form of discrimination and recognizes gender equality in all ramifications.
Democratically elected government in place is supposed to ensure the principle of social justice, equality, and provision of social amenities, education, and others to its citizens of Nigeria.
It's an evolving democracy, and the issues of gender are really issues of development.
On the political front, the Benjin affirmative action is equally attracting attention.
Deliberate attempt must be made to bring the Nigerian woman on the table.
However, how justiciable are these socio-economic, political, and cultural rights in line with Section 6, subsection CC of the 1999 Constitution that hosts the power of the court to adjudicate on matters relating to these?
The provisions in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are not justiciable. That is, they cannot be enforced in court.
It is called the objective and directive principles of state policy. No citizen of Nigeria has the right to seek its enforcement in the court of law, which is popularly regarded in the legal parlance as a non-justiciable right.
The theme of this year's World Day of Social Justice is closing the inequalities gap to achieve social justice. In achieving this, the federal government came up with several social security programs tailored towards economic empowerment of the people and the establishment of Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTAi News.
And joining me in the studio on this day is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Usman Osule. Sir, you're welcome to the studios of NTAi International.
Thank you for having me.
So today is World Social Justice Day.
Yeah.
How would you describe social justice, especially in the Nigerian context?
Thank you very much. Justice in itself denotes equality, fairness to the citizen and the entire nation. And this stems from the fact that there must be law and order in the society for us to get to the pinnacle point of having what we call justice or social justice. And analysts have so far provided a lot of theories, people like Montesquieu, Aristotle, Salmon, when he says that law are those rules made by the superior for the inferior. But John Austin, look at it from another perspective when he says that law is a command of the sovereign. To that extent, you will now discover that the citizenry has given their right to be governed by the government. And those rights enshrined in our constitution, the Nigerian Constitution, Chapter 2, are issues that are not justiciable. We have the element of political objective, regional objective, fundamental rights, and far from it is the issue that you cannot contest in our normal court system. The education system, foreign policies are issues that they expect the government to provide for the citizenry. And these are aspects that the government has within a framework or design framework by the Constitution. It's not done within or outside that scope of the Constitution, except those contained in Chapter 2, particularly from Section 13, span up to Section 24 of the Constitution. And the citizenry itself are already conferred also certain rights that they must give regards to this balanced equality of government. And you discover that over time, there must be evidence of equality in line with the laid down Constitution. The sovereign is the government, wherein the people of Nigeria has already given their right and mandate to the sovereign authority to now govern them in line with the constitutional provisions. And it takes a further step to Section 24 of the Constitution, where it says that the citizenry itself on their own must have some right to perform payment of task, their compliance, equality within themselves, and the other rights as emanated within the constitutional framework. These are rights that are already embedded in the Constitution.
So, SAN, if I may come in here, Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution states that Nigeria is a state based on principles of democracy and social justice.
Yes.
How relevant is this to good governance?
Yes, Section 14 is very relevant to the Nigerian government because it talks about democracy. And justice itself was defined, social justice was defined in our 8th edition of the Black Law Dictionary, when it says, one, they are in twofold. The first one is justice in personam and justice in rem. The justice in personam is that justice that affects only an individual interest, while the one in rem affects the entire society. And that in rem is that one that have issue of social justice. And when there's also a miscarriage of justice within the purview of the citizenry, then there is bound to have injury to the society itself. And that is why in giving justice or in giving a judgment of a court, there is that issue of being careful so I don't have miscarriage of justice. So because any little bit of miscarriage of justice affects the citizenry and affects the society in the larger society. So what do we now expect to do? We now have a kind of a balanced situation whereby government according to law and the balance according to equality of governance. As I said earlier on, there is the issues of a formidable rules that are guided by this Section 2 of the Constitution, where they are already giving elaborate situation whereby we have social policy that affects the citizenry, provide good road, social amenities, good water, and if it's provided, everybody will use it without any discrimination. And there's equality between the poor and the rich, the less privileged and downtrodden. So to that extent, everybody has a balanced situation without any contest of I am higher than you one way or the other, or I have a depravity of it. Either a disabled or not disabled person, we should be able to have a fair view and a fair governance that covers everybody's rights.
Many thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on the news on NTAi International at this time.
Thank you very much.
I was speaking with Usman Sule, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, on the World Day of Social Justice. This is the news on NTAi International. We'll take a break now. We'll be back shortly with more reports.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
Can you no panic?
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Yeah, press OK.
Wow, now you sef fit catch all those channels wey be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your groove for no loss. You see as I do am, abi?
And I see as I do am.
Go TV, live it, love it.
Many thanks for being there. To ensure effective integration and rehabilitation of de-radicalized Boko Haram ex-fighters as part of efforts in winning the war against insurgency, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is ready to partner with Operation Safe Corridor, a joint multi-agency and multinational humanitarian venture established to ensure reintegration of these Boko Haram ex-fighters into the society. Ruth Aguele standing by with the details.
In September 2015, the federal government gave a directive for the establishment of Operation Safe Corridor to ensure willing and repentant ex-Boko Haram fighters be reintegrated into the society. And in 2016, the activities of Operation Safe Corridor kicked off. Today, this visit by the Operation Safe Corridor to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is to establish a strong partnership and also recount some of the activities from 2016 till date. Also reel out some of the challenges being faced in reintegrating some of these ex-Boko Haram members into the society.
Since we released them to the state governments, we have not received any report of hostility against them in the communities where they have been integrated.
And he also debunked the rumor making wave on the social media that some of these ex-Boko Haram members are being recruited into the Nigerian army.
That's a false news. I do not think any member of Boko Haram is qualified to be recruited into the Nigerian military.
This strategy is very important for us as a country. It's a way of even sending a signal to these people that are out there stabilizing this country, that the government has opened its doors for them to have a rethink, come back home.
For both parties here, the fight against insurgency is a collective responsibility. Also, it is worthy of note that the camp, which is located in Gombe State, is open for visit by the general public for verification. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTAi News.
And away from security matters, realizing the development of the agricultural sector is the way out of poverty. Political leaders are already preparing farmers for this year's farming season. Jacob Sani reports that metric tons of fertilizers have been procured for farmers in Ankpa, Omala and Olamaboro Federal Constituency by their representative Alhaji Abdullahi Ibrahim.
Kogi, known as confluence of River Niger and Benue, is an agrarian state that has comparative advantage on cassava production over other states in Nigeria. Just like other state farmers in Kogi grapple with the challenge of lack of farm input, of which fertilizer is one. To address this and attract many into farming this year, the representative of Ankpa, Omala and Olamaboro in the House of Representatives, Abdullah Ibrahim, deemed it fit to procure fertilizer for farmers for this farming season.
Fertilizer to our farmers, over 2,000 pieces of fertilizers in bags of fertilizer to our farmers. We are determined to ensure that we have food security in our federal constituency.
Guests at the event described the initiative by the legislature as well thought out.
Our objective is to monitor the whole federal constituency projects, which this one is one of them. And I'm very happy to see what I have seen today, because many times some of the honorables normally when they awarded the contracts, they meet with the agencies and collect the money.
As for the benefiting farmers, it was a unique gesture.
Green machine, a green generator, everything with fertilizer now today. Before they don't see this kind of thing for Apan.
This is the third time Halim is visiting his constituency with an empowerment initiative including payment for JAM registration for more than 500 students since elected in May last year. From Ankpa, Kogi State, Jacob Sani, NTAi News.
And talking health now, countermeasures against the importation of the novel coronavirus into Nigeria are being strategically instituted. with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control establishing a coronavirus preparedness group that includes representatives from the Port Health Services of the Federal Ministry of Health, amongst other stakeholders. Earlier on Nationwide News, Hawa Salihu Adama spoke with Abdurrahim Musa, a Nigerian student in Wuhan, on the situation out there and what the Nigerian embassy is doing in that regard.
The Nigerian embassy in Wuhan, so far, they came out to recognize the fact that we are in this plight, and they gave us words of encouragement. And so far, so good, that at least the ambassador from his own personal pocket, so we're made to understand, he was able to give us some money to help with taking care of our basic needs. Because, you know, at the beginning stage of this epidemic, there's a lot of panic. We're not used to it. Even the confinement and all that, we're not used to it. So far, so good. To me, it's satisfactory.
And sports update is next.